So this exhibition is called Group Hat, and the title came from a conversation that I was having with my 2-year-old at the dinner table, where he was playing with a small bus with a group of 3 characters in the bus, and he laid a piece of tender stem broccoli along the top of their heads and said, "It's their hat." And we said, "Oh, it's a group hat." And we thought that I thought that the idea of a group hat was a really nice sort of notion to think about as sort of shared, enveloping space, and a kind of a way of thinking about working together, creating a space for learning and unlearning, workshops, events, things to take place. Every aspect of the exhibition has been in some way a collaboration, and a big part of the sort of catalyst for the exhibition, or the sort of starting point, was that a lot of the elements we were keen would have a permanent home somewhere in the local area. And one of the kind of main partners that we've been working with on that is a space called the Pelham, which is in Sidley, which is in Bexhill. And it's a really phenomenal project where they've turned an old working men's club into a community centre, and they're gradually floor by floor kind of renovating this building. And we made a few site visits to there and got to understand that there was this dance school that took place there called New Thing Dance Academy, run by a lady called Sophia, and she was really responsive to some sort of collaboration. So we went along and had a really lovely workshop with her and 3 of her students. She had really nice visual aids for learning. She had lots of kind of little tricks, sort of putting on crowns and ways of sort of holding a big basket to get the right position for your arms. So through that workshop and through those processes, I developed the floor pattern, which is this kind of motif of a leg coming out through a door. And that was kind of a combination of 2 of the visual learning aids that she used. We discussed with Sophia and the New Thing Dance Academy what they most needed for their dance school, and they were really craving some sort of mirror because of the sort of how useful it would be for the learning for the dancers to be able to see themselves reflected back. And early on in the process, I'd been really keen to have a mirror in the space. So it had already been a kind of element that was in the show, but it seemed really perfect when they expressed that they were interested in having mirrors. So the plan is to, once the show finishes, to have the mirrors reconfigured and cut down, and I'm going to work with DLWP to build some movable mirror structures that they can use at the Pelham. We ran a series of workshops with a group of children from Chantry Community Primary School here in Bexhill. I asked them to act like sponges and sort of absorb as much of the sounds and smells and space that they could around them. And they did some drawings in the space, and then we went back to the studio space and developed those into some form of mural, which I then later put through my processes to develop the vinyl mural that you see in the gallery now. This child, Monty, had drawn this beautiful pattern of lips and sort of sound waves and speakers. That has become one of the key motifs in the show, which is on the underside of the table structure. So I'm hoping that the space is going to be used in a really interactive way, and there are lots and lots of elements within the exhibition that have multiple locations that they can occupy. So there's going to be a whole fleet of benches which can be rearranged by the visitors if they like. There are handles on them, they can be moved carefully. There's a book cart which operates as a book swap on wheels. So we've started off with a collection of books donated by people that we know, friends of Warr Pavilion people that I'm in contact with who have donated or recommended books. So visitors to the gallery will be invited to bring books and take books and kind of continue the process of swapping, and there's book plates for people to fill out so that they can, so that there's a trace of the project as it progresses. There's also a knowledge sharing archive which is in the form of a folder and some printed headed paper. And this came out of something that happened in one of the workshops I did with the children from Chantry Primary School. I asked the children to write sheets of something they were knowledgeable about, so to kind of teach me something. And it was really amazing the things that came out of it. There were, you know, people told me how to look after a hamster, someone told me all about the solar system, there was a recipe for an egg salad sandwich, and it was really nice to kind of gather this knowledge into one place. So I decided to sort of extend that into the exhibition, have that be an archive that keeps growing, and hopefully visitors to the gallery will fill out and sort of do their own knowledge sharing sheets. There's going to be some really exciting talks and workshops and performances taking place. And to find out about the workshops, you can have a look at the enormous wall of posters. So I've developed a sort of series of templates of posters which can be adapted to suit the different workshops, and they're going up on one big wall in the space. So another kind of extension of the collaboration within this project, you'll see on the benches in the space there's this kind of flick paint, and also on the wall structure they've been flicked with a kind of with a smattering of paint. And that was a really nice workshop that we ran with a group called the Young Creatives who meet here at Warr Pavilion, and another group called 4 Seasons. And everyone kind of mucked in to do this collaborative paint flicking. So it felt like there's a sort of trace of quite a lot of people on the benches and on the wall structure. And it was really nice actually to see the idiosyncrasies of the different ways that people did the flicking. Though it's quite a kind of straightforward process of flicking, it's, you know, some people were really careful to make very tiny flicks, and then other people were really kind of going for it with big ones. And it was nice to get that kind of almost a fingerprint of people that used the building. Once they were all flicked, the benches, we peeled away some vinyl that had been stuck down already. You'll see in the space there's, or just outside the space, there's a kind of list of thank yous or names of people that have been involved in the project. And when I was putting that together, I was amazed to realise that there was more than 100 people that have been directly involved in this project, and it's quite touching actually to kind of think that I've been a part of this huge thing that's happened.